this is something that is underutilized a lot. When you finish a job, if the client's happy, do a video testimonial. Ask them a handful of questions. It doesn't have to take more than 10 minutes. You can do it on your iPhone and then promote that through your social channels or your website or whatever the case may be. What's up, guys? It is coffee break number 24, and it is fall, so I'm back in a flannel. No more polos for the rest of the year. We're in the shop today. I got blue pen ink all over my hand. I just looked at it, and I have no idea where it came from. But we have a couple questions that we're going to get into, so let's get right into it. Actually, before we do, if you guys have questions, make sure you leave them in the comments below so we can answer them each week. If you guys are listening to this on the podcast, make sure you subscribe, drop us a review, let us know how we're doing. And if you guys don't already know this, we also release an episode of Site Visit when I walk you through our sites once a week. And then, of course, follow us on Instagram and all the other social media platforms. I hear Doug's getting me on TikTok, so I think we're going to work on our dance moves. All right, let's get into it. First question. I have been in the trades for about 17 years now and just started my remodeling company. I'm a licensed general contractor and was wondering, what is the best way to get leads? Also, would you recommend doing cost plus? Well, the cost plus question I've already answered on a previous coffee break, but I'll touch on that a little bit. You're specifically asking if I would recommend just doing cost plus. And I would say no, but the reason I would say that is it really depends on the project. And the reason that we end up doing most of our projects cost plus is because the design isn't detailed enough for us to hard bid something. To be completely honest, I would love to go into something with a fixed cost, with a hard bid, meaning that we have a set of drawings that are so well detailed that we know exactly what we're doing. And of course, we'll have some language within our contract that allows for material price increases or, market fluctuation, but the majority of that project is going to be a hard bid, and we don't have to worry about kind of auditing the financials on such a regular basis. And I say that casually, but what I mean is that we're not essentially collecting all that data and then billing the client cost and then adding our fee to it. Plus, we're set up on a schedule. We know what the income stream is. We are set up in a way that we're not. It's essentially reducing the amount of paperwork because we're scheduling our payments in advance, and it's not something that we have to kind of reinvent each month, if that makes sense, or every 2 weeks, depending on your billing schedule. The best way to get leads. So, I actually took some formal sales training this previous year and started to understand the psychology behind leads. And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but I think, if you want to up your sales, I think it's really important to understand the psychology behind the lead, and why in our industry specifically, you need to understand that not everyone is ready to be sold to. And a lot of the people that are reaching out, maybe you're a builder, you're a home builder, and someone reaches out and says, hey, we'd love to, we're looking for someone to fix our front porch. I'm not saying that you need to go fix that front porch because while you're building homes. What I'm saying is, if you become an asset to them, when they're in a position to build a home, they'll remember that relationship. And making a referral to, hey, Joe's a great carpenter. He can help you with the porch. I'd highly recommend him. And get them into, if you have a CRM, a customer relationship management system like a HubSpot or something, then you can, get them into your email marketing and essentially, not flood, but like keep them in, keep exactly pipeline. And that could be, years from now. It might be something like, hey, remember that guy that recommended us to Joe, the carpenter? Well, now we're in a position to buy a home. It's building equity with people over a long period of time, and that doesn't necessarily lead to leads right now, right? But you have to look at that in all aspects where, what it comes down to is communicating and talking with people and making sure that you're getting back to people, really quickly to get those leads coming in. There's all of these lead generating tools, and I can't speak to any of them. I hear more bad stories than good. But for us, it's just having, creating brand awareness, obviously through social media, through doing things like this, like the podcast, through our videos. All of these things create brand awareness, and we're backing that up by having a great website and having, an opportunity for them to get in touch with you. So I speak about the website. Everyone's website is under construction, right? Ours is currently under construction as well. We're revamping it, but we still want that client to come on that website and understand. It's really, really important to understand exactly what you do. And I think this is why we're actually revamping it, is that we're revamping our clientele. So our website is being changed to make sure that we're, attracting that type of clientele. And so if you are, a deck builder, you're going to be posting pictures of decks and talking about decks and doing a blog post on decks and making it really easy for them to get in touch with you. And, two things that I had learned is make sure on that homepage there's a really, clear, like, call us now button, or, get in touch with us right away, and make sure that call to action is, kind of spread out throughout the website. If you look at any website that is selling you something, as you scroll down the page, you're going to see a button to get in touch or get this free form or sign up for my class every time you scroll. And it's there for a reason. It's basically giving you information, asking you for something, giving you information, asking you for something. So from the website standpoint, it's really important to navigate them through that journey, but make sure it's really easy for them to get in touch with you. But it starts with brand awareness, and you have to kind of come at it as widespread as you can, essentially creating this funnel and then allowing people to come in, and then you filter them out accordingly. Also, referrals. And I think this is something that is underutilized a lot. When you finish a job, if the client's happy, ask for a referral. Great. If you can get a Google review or a review on your website, that's fantastic. But do a video testimonial. Hey, do you mind spending a minute with us, just talking about your experience with us? Ask them a handful of questions. It doesn't have to take more than 10 minutes. You can do it on your iPhone, whatever it is, and then promote that through your social channels or your website or whatever the case may be. But hearing from, previous clients and then sharing that, and then people, especially when they're similar people, right? Is if I watch a video and this dude that's in his 30s has a flannel on and he's talking about how great he loves, this truck, I'm probably going to watch it because he reminds me of myself. It's like, all right, that dude's similar to me, and he's talking about how great something is. I'm going to believe it because I relate to that person. So the more of these testimonial videos you have, the bigger your library is. So when you talk to a prospective client, shoot them that video. Be like, hey, check this out. We complete. I'm going to use the deck example. We completed this deck, for this couple, and maybe it's they're similar age, similar geographic location, whatever the case, similar interest. Check out this video. When they watch it, they're going to feel like, oh man, like he's got his stuff together. Like, look at how great that came out. That's where the word of mouth really comes in. You're capturing that in a video that gets to be repurposed over and over. Question 2, I was wondering about your company policy is surrounding on-site music. I'm going to read that again. I was wondering about your company policy about surrounding on-site music. Do you think it's unprofessional? Are earbuds the norm? So I actually don't know if we have a policy for that. I think it comes down to just, being courteous, right? If a client's on the website, radios are turned down. Regardless if who's on the website, we're not listening to, obnoxious music or loud or profane, stuff with profanity and things like, not the website, job site. So on the job, if whoever's on the job site, we're still not listening to obnoxious music. And I say obnoxious, but what I mean by obnoxious is, that can be offensive to anyone on the job site, whether it's another employee or a client or anything like that. It's tasteful. It just has to be tasteful. You have to, figure that there might be a kid in earshot, or there might be family in earshot, or maybe you're in a multifamily and, there's people next door, but also you're not blaring it. It's at a tolerable level where people can enjoy it, but it's not blaring. And a big job site, I guess at the end of the day, like from a volume and the type of music, I think the type of music is just kind of like, it's the type of people we work with. We understand we're all respectful, so I don't think that's ever been an issue. The volume, if it's not impacting people's concentration and safety and things like that, and people can hear what's going on and talk, then it's typically not an issue. The earbuds, I'm okay with it. Again, it has to be used in a way that if I'm behind you or I'm gonna, or you're working around people, you still need to be able to hear what's going on. So our policy isn't something that's written in stone. It probably will be at some point as we continue to build our policy, but it's really just comes down to being respectful of where you are and who you're around. I'm super interested to hear about how you bill your labor as time and material, and is this the same for your shop guys? Just curious how you handle this. Well, this goes along with our cost plus answer. So we're in short, because we've touched on this a handful of times, but in short, we essentially are, if we have a carpentry allowance in our budget, say we have a $10,000 carpentry allowance. Well, in that cost code, we have 3 divisions of that cost code, and they're broken out as labor, material, and subcontractor, and those roll up into carpentry. So if we kind of expand on those, say we have $5,000 in labor, $2,500 in material, and $2,500 in subcontractor, we're going to use those as allowances. Maybe the subcontractor is something we bid, and we have a hard bid for a framer to come in for 2 days to frame something out. It's $2,500. Okay, well, we know that's going to be, that's a hard bid, so we would create a PO against that. And once they complete the work, we pay the PO, and that line item's, zeroed out. Now, our material and our labor, if it's, something that we put an allowance in there for, we're going to communicate that in the beginning. It's, a carpentry allowance, based on X amount of hours and X amount of material, and it may fluctuate based on the overall scope or the actual time spent or the actual material that we purchased. And we're going to bill against those. So maybe we might come in under labor. Under material and over on labor. They're going to be adjusted accordingly. But anytime you're doing something time, material, or cost plus, it again comes down to communication. You have to set that expectation up front, make sure that you're clear and that the client understands that you're coming in with an allowance, and these are the contingencies on this allowance. Oftentimes we'll say, hey, we have 2 weeks for 3 guys in here for our carpentry labor. But then, say we get into it and we're moving along and we realize that we're going to spend more time, we need to have a conversation with that client and explain, we had 2 weeks in here for 3 guys, but it looks like we're probably going to be another week. And based on that, we're going to be X amount over budget. Or the other way, we might be under budget, or we might be right on budget. It comes down to communicating. So that's how we're approaching that time material process. So this is the question. I'm gonna start to answer it, but I think we'll touch base on this on a future one when maybe I have Ken on here. But would love you to give the paint particulars: primer coat, oil versus latex, sheen, brand, method of application, things like that. And I think, and they're specifically talking about cabinetry. So cabinetry currently is something that we outsource. And we work with a cabinet finisher or a millwork finisher, and we go off of their recommendations. But we've set some standards for us. Number one, anytime we're doing a pigmented color or a painted color, it's a 2K poly. I don't know the specifics behind that. It's a 2K polyurethane. It's a spray finish. But for us, leading up to kind of dropping it off at the finisher and kind of setting up, what our expectations are. And going back, the reason we went with the 2K is that we've had the most luck with flexibility, duration, the hardness, just the overall look of it. It's just, we've had the best luck out of that finish. So we've just kind of stuck with it. But leading up to that, everything we do here in the shop is brought to a level that's ready for finish. And, we learned, Ken definitely set the stage for that. But, in interviewing and working with finishers, we realized that one of the common things we saw is guys were dropping off work that literally couldn't be finished yet. It was so It was like, hey, I'm dropping this off, and then the finisher had to spend time taking rough material and sanding it smooth and filling these cracks and gouges and nails and screws and et cetera, et cetera. It's like, man, like we want it to leave the shop so it's basically ready to go in their booth. So when it gets there, they're doing basically a finish, like a detail sand to get any of the fingerprints off or any of the transportation, whatever. Basically, it's ready to go, and they go right into primer. The other things that we do prior to shipping out is anytime we're building like a 5-piece door or, you know, a material that might have a slip fit, and the slip fit is kind of like the panel inside your door rail and style, that isn't glued in, so it's slipped in there. We would paint that entire edge of that panel we use an oil base, and that particular oil based primer is something that they recommended that works with the 2K poly. And we would paint that entire edge of the panel prior to assembly. So if water or anything ever got in there, it's not attacking the raw wood or MDF or things like that and impacting the integrity of that. Once we assemble it, then we're sanding off the residual primer, essentially. So when you look at it, it looks like it's raw, but everything that's kind of encapsulated within that slip fit has a finish on it. And we do that because we want to make sure we're prepared. We're giving a product to our finisher that they don't have to spend a ton of time fixing our work. It's going out the door at a high level, so we can expect it to come back at a high level. You know, I think that goes for any of the painting trades. It's, you know, that's why that's why it's important that we're cutting our miters tight and our copes tight. I don't want my painters to have to make us look good. You know, I want to set it up so we look good and our painters can look good because they're focused on painting and doing what they do best, not repairing work and making something that looks shoddy look great. That's it for today, guys. Appreciate you following along. Stay tuned for next week. We'll see you then.